So in the wee hours of the morning, middle of the night or somewhere in there, I woke up and I had a sentence in my head. And I thought, okay, well, that's probably what I'll talk about. So that's kind of sometimes what is the idea. Other times I get here, one of you says something, I think, okay, well, that's what we're going to talk about. So it all starts downloading at that point. But the concept that came to me is kind of an odd one, a kind of a funny one. But I thought it's just brilliant in a sense. And that was as follows. Life is one big game of red light, green light. Remember that as kids? Red light, green light. The universal mother is constantly freezing to represent red light, our limiting beliefs. So when we have limiting beliefs, it's like we're racing towards God and we keep hearing red light, so we have to stop. When we stop, the Divine Mother freezes to become our latest belief systems. Now, this is amazing that she can do this, because she's not like, God, I mean, after all I've done for you, look at the way you treat your mother. She doesn't do that like moms are said to sometimes do. The Divine Mother is so whole and perfect, she can afford to pause for a moment and freeze and become our limiting belief systems. She's the mother. The Divine Mother is the mother. So the Divine Mother becomes the universe. The universe becomes a womb in which we not have just creation, but we get to see our creations mirrored back to us. So she freeze frames to say, you're feeling, happy today. Let me hold space and show you what you're happy about. And there you go. She's holding that. But when we're having limiting belief systems, it's the same thing. She freezes to mirror to us. And it sounds strange because you go, well, God would only do amazing things. It is amazing. What could be more amazing than an unlimited being pretending to be limited just for our sake? She's unlimited, and she goes, well, this is where they're at. I'm going to be your limited funds today. And we're going, dear Lord, save us from our limiting funds. The Lord is going, I am your limited funds. Couldn't you let me off the hook? Why don't you believe in unlimited? And then, woo, and then it bursts. And that which became particles of matter, even called limited funds, becomes more unlimited, and you change your finances. This isn't magic, it's consciousness. You don't just affirm for more money, you change your consciousness. And when we change our consciousness, she, our mother, matter, okay, matter changes. And she says, okay, good, thank you. Let me mirror more prosperity to you. When we realize this is a game of consciousness, red light, we keep freezing, but that's our limited belief systems. We learn through spirituality to identify with and hear the voice instead say green light. Green light, green light, and that's all it can say. Come on home. And that's when we go into, unlimited consciousness. And there's a concept in A Course in Miracles that giving and receiving are the same. And that is unlimited consciousness. See, on earth, we're taught, if I have $1 in my pocket and I hand it to you, now I no longer have it. You have it and I don't. If you take it from me, I no longer have it, you have it, and I don't. That's the three-dimensional world mirroring something to us. Now, the Sufi or the masters, the yogis in history, they say your senses lie to you. Your senses are your ego's spies, trying to validate that there's something wrong with you and that everything is out to get you, so live in fear. And yet the senses lie to us. Oh, well, cool. So don't trust your senses. Try that. Just try that. You can come to a center like this. You can watch appearances like this, films like this, or whatever they happen to be, presentations, and you can go, that's it. Oh my God, unlimited. I'm an unlimited being. Green light all the way. And you get a bumper sticker on your car. Green light all the way. And you start affirming and you start feeling better and you wear purple and, you become spiritual. And then, your kids become teenagers. Or whatever else it happens to be. Something's going to happen. Usually it doesn't wait long enough for your kids. Usually it's minutes later. I am a totally unlimited being. Ding dong, Mel's there and, being served papers, Honey, I don't love you anymore. Oh, that I feel really great. Green light, You just sink right into how could this be happening? And what's amazing is the Christians would call that the devil tempting you. And in a sense it is. It's our fears, our ego, our unhealed wounds coming back to make sure we don't go green light for too long. Because when you say green light to the kids playing that game, for too long, they win. And if you win, the ego doesn't exist anymore. So it has to mess with us, and it's our ego. See, the difference between fundamental Christianity or religion versus spiritual people is, instead of saying there's a devil out there who's doing this to me, there's an ego in here that tends to do this. I mean, the fundamental difference is, instead of outer orientation, it's inner. And if you really understand that, then you can hear a fundamental lecture where they say, oh, the devil, and you don't have to go, oh, this devil stuff, I can't take it because I'm a new ager and I don't agree. All you have to do is translate it. Ego, click, and the devil, ego, and the ego's, devil's out to get, yeah, the ego's always kicking my butt. Just translate it. And the ego's going to tempt you. Yes, I have addictions. Just keep retranslating it. The difference is what? Responsibility, not blame. But we start to recognize, wow, I play a role here. I play a part. Now, in quantum physics, science, but quantum physics, how do you confirm how creation happens? How does it manifest? Well, in a nutshell, kind of a simplistic version of it, is that science and quantum physics has come to this kind of point where they say, they certainly don't know everything about anything, close to everything about creation. One thing they do know is that when they do holographic work in experiments, they get these two waves. They take a laser, laser light, which is the purest form of light we know. They take laser light and they shoot it in a lab. They shoot it forward, and then they split it. They find a way to split the light in two parts. Then they bounce it off of a couple of mirrors, and so I'm just being simplistic about it, but they bounce it off a couple of mirrors and reconverge those symbols of the light, okay? One of the beams, they will have hit an object. In this case, the famous example was they did it with an apple. So they have one of the lights hit an apple and then come back to the center of the room. The other one comes from the other side. Now, here's the weird thing. When those beams of light come back together and reconverge, the waves of them, like two pebbles, one over there and one over there, you see the ripples, and they actually hit each other. When those waves hit each other, they actually cross over, but they don't hit flat, they're circles. In other words, it's a beam like this, but when they hit, they create what's called an interference pattern. And the pattern starts to look like two things hit, but it creates this crossover that's the shape of a vesica Pisces, like the womb and your third eye. So in the middle of the room, there's this wave that starts. Once they hit, it goes from this, they hit, and they make this wave in the middle. Where that wave interference pattern is done right in the middle of the room, it will recreate whatever the laser had hit. So they'll see a three-dimensional apple in the middle of the room. It's got height, depth, and width. It's just not solid yet. But they make it re-materialize the apple. And they're, wow, that's outstanding. But there's an amazing, important piece to that they haven't picked up yet, but they'll get there. And that is, and one of the really trippy things is, they can take a film of that apple. They can take a picture, they get a piece of film made of the apple in the middle of the room. So they take this sheet of film and they go, okay, look, we took a picture, we took a laser, put it in the middle of the room, and it rematerialized like an apple, not literally material, but three-dimensional, just energetically. It's there, they can see it. They can catch it on film. So now they take the film and they can cut it into 1 trillion pieces, the film, of an apple. Now, what do you think's at the top of the apple? The stem. The bottom would be the round. You're right. All the pieces are there because it's a film. It's a picture. They can take a picture of any part of that apple, any part. Take it, snip it. Take the apple that they ran the laser to before, and only have it hit the piece of film, and it'll still make a whole apple. Now that's not possible because you didn't tell it to hit an apple. It's only a piece of film of a piece of an apple, but a whole apple still materializes. That's because in all things, everything exists. Okay, but that isn't the cool thing yet. Here's the cool thing that's relevant to our talk. Why does it take two waves? Why 2 waves? And why do they use laser light? And why does laser light seem to replicate creation like of an apple? Because you and I are light. We are the light of God made manifest. So laser is as close as they know right now to you. So that's the first thing to get. Laser light is the closest thing to you. So when they replicate light manifesting things, it's a mirror, it's a metaphor of you creating things because you're light. Got that? Okay, still that's not the best part. So the best part to me is this. Why do they split it? Why does it take splitting it and do 2? Why not just one laser? Because all of creation is made up of you and us. You and us, the collective and the individual. So if I say right now, I'm going to work a miracle, I'm going to walk on water in front of you, or I'm going to materialize something, either I or we have to believe in it enough. If I can get we to believe in it, that's cool because it's less work for me. We have all this collective belief put into it. But an individual has proven time and again in history that an individual can believe enough. And it doesn't just mean materializing things. It could be curing racism. But one person with enough belief hits their version of the metaphoric apple and brings it to the mix. So what I bring to it, there we go. Kind of cool, huh? Yes. It takes an I and an us to manifest anything. And when we say, oh, I can't wait till the world changes, it doesn't just change. Consciousness has to be, a different consciousness has to be introduced into that whole mix. And I love that the interference patterns take a shape of this, the Vesica Pisces, because that symbol is the shape of the Christ. It's the symbol of Christ. And it is the Christ in us, the light in us. Forget religion. You don't have to be Jewish not liking I'm saying Christ. You don't have to be Buddhist not liking that I'm saying Christ. You don't have to be spiritual and not like Christ thinking I'm talking Christianity. I'm talking about the true name Christ. Forget there's a historic person. The true name Christ means the I am presence of God within us. So it's the Christ that creates. And the reading that Joshua shared with us is what? It's the Christ creates. And whether you see love or not love, it's coming from I and we. Me and us. All of our realities. But are we creating fear? Are you throwing in the proverbial apple that the light hits? Am I bringing to the mix? Here you guys, we seem to have separated. There's me and us. You know, and so the we splits this way, and here I come. And I'm bringing, what's the apple that I hit? My low belief systems, my financial fears, my unhealed wounds around whatever topic. Bring it home, and once it hits what we believe, we start to see it materialized. So when we say, my life would be different if only somebody would be different, if somebody would treat me differently, that's like I'm going this way, you all are going that way, and I want one of you to be different. It's likely not going to happen. It'll be easier in some respects, although work takes work and responsibility, for me to say, there's trillions of you all, and there's me, and I'm going to win. Right away, the mind doesn't even believe that. How can I beat all of you? If you all believe that, in racism, I can't beat that. There's too many of you. See, and that again, the ego has hijacked my mind and is making me believe in something being impossible. So it becomes so. But somebody eventually emerges from the pack and says, I don't really care what the odds are. I'm just going to do it anyway. This is right. And now you become a Jesus or whomever. But it's not just prophets. There's little meek individuals who have made differences in their own communities. But it still can be done, and it's the only way to get this done. When people think about changing the world, you know what we need in this country? As soon as you say that, your next words are likely going to be wrong. Because as soon as you know what we need is, nothing you say makes any sense. First, because you're focusing on fear and the problem per se, rather than the consciousness that changes it. See, Jesus, Buddha, Peace Pilgrim, Mother Teresa, whomever, these are people who are saying, I'm just going to hold consciousness. Would you guys like to know about that consciousness? And then they become teachers if somebody wants to know. If you don't want to know, they don't care because they got the consciousness. So they're kind of objective. There's a story of Diogenes. He's a Greek philosopher. And here, the story, Alexander the Great, he takes over the, known world. He takes over Persia. Nothing stops him. I mean, even the Bible predicts his coming. When this person comes, nothing can stop him. Not because he's a tyrannical nut like a Hitler. He's a master, and he knows just how to do things. He comes in, and he's taking over the known world with almost, it seems, effortlessness, right? He does this, and he passes by this Greek philosopher. And he rides by, and he thinks, everybody else is praise Alexander, praise, and this guy's just sitting there kind of meditating his navel or whatever, contemplating his navel. And Alexander's intrigued, like, who's this guy that's all shoddy looking, poor looking? Would you like some money? Like he's looking at him like that. And Diogenes is he's not affected at all by who's this guy? Oh, Alexander the Great. No, nothing. He just stayed in his space doing his thing. And Alexander becomes intrigued, and he's, who are you? And the people are saying, oh, that's Diogenes. He's kind of a nutty philosopher kind of a guy. So Alexander says, well, I'm really impressed that you're not afraid of me. You're not bowing. You're not taking it this way. You're just so amazing. What are you about? Is there anything I can do for you as a gift? I want to bestow a gift to you, Diogenes, because you're just so unaffected by my presence. I'm impressed. Is there anything I can give you? And he says, yes, if you could move a little to the right because you're blocking my sunlight. Centered, man. Centered, Do you say that, to exes and so forth? That's okay. You can leave. You've been blocking my sunlight anyway. Usually there's hurt and shames and attacks and so on. We have to learn to find that center. And I have to own that I contribute to those waves. Now, if you say, I don't contribute, you're sleeping as a human. You're not awake. When you start to go, I do contribute as part of the whole of humanity, you're starting to wake up. But when you recognize even humanity doesn't create without an I involved. I have to be involved. I can't be here and experience life on earth only as part of you all. There's a me and a we that creates the interference patterns. I also can't pretend it's only me. I'm a creator of my own reality. The popular buzz phrase in the New Age movement, I create my own reality. No, you and we create that reality. So if we're a pain in the neck and you're wanting to change, you have to deal with us. So you have to be so clear. You can't just want to change a little bit. That's why some of us are like, I'm trying to change some things financially, but it's not working. Sometimes you haven't influenced the us enough yet in consciousness. I don't mean in behavior per se. Sometimes you're trying to get a relationship and create a healthy new relationship. And maybe you have made adaptations and changes to do that. But you still don't believe there's enough we that can support you in that. I'm ready for a new relationship, but none of you are healthy enough, man. Why am I so alone? Thank God none of you are in my life. See, it's like the I is still seeing part of you as poison. I have to change me and influence us. And then as I influence us, one of the people in that crowd become healthy enough and I might have a relationship. One of the people in that crowd might be healthy enough that they give me a raise at work. But my changes inside are where I need to go here. It seems easier if we can get everyone else to change, but think of what I just said. If you think your life is better if you could just get your children or your family members to be nicer or whatever, that's logical. But if they're part of the we, you're not just trying to change 5 people. You're asking for however many it is now, 7 billion on the planet, just incarnated, How are you going to get them to change? You can't isolate a group and say, I would like to have this many of the one, this many of the collective. That doesn't make sense. They're a collective. So those of us who think our lives are going to change when we get a few people to dance based on what we want them to dance, think about it. They're part of a collective. Oh, geez, this is depressing. You're telling me that I can't change my world and the people in my world. No, not so easily. You can easily work on yourself, but most people think that that's the yucky path. Because then I got to look at myself. I got to start owning my contribution to the interference patterns. And that's why we're realizing that's the only way. It's the only way to do it. You could say it can be done by changing the masses, but how much success are you going to have changing the masses if you haven't made any changes in yourself? So sorry, but it's still going to come back to us. So some of us then go, that's it then, I'm going to just work on me and the hell with everybody else. You still don't get it. Because there's no new creation if they're corrupt and you think you're not. I'm coming together with you all. There's an I and a we, and I have to change all of it. Starting with me, I still am bringing a change to the we. And if I think you guys aren't worthy, then I'm still messed up somewhere. I'm here to change it all. Every one of us. You know, we need another Jesus. No, you need a new you. You know, I've said this in a talk, I don't know, like a month ago, that heaven is kind of sending a message to humanity. It's a new dispensation. And they're saying, we have enough prophets. No thanks. They're turning everybody away now. They don't want anybody else becoming enlightened. They want us to arrive with everyone else and not trying to show up as enlightened individuals. That's changing. Okay? We don't need one for every billion, you know. Do you know how long that's going to take for mankind to become enlightened? You know, as in mass, for us all to return to God. If 1 in a billion pull it off every, you know, generation. Those odds are bad. We should have never banked on that in the first place. Those odds were bad. Somebody should have said, wait, before we go with this plan, it really doesn't make any sense. Instead, there's a new dispensation. Hi, you're wanting to get home? Yes, I'm wanting to reach enlightenment. You're wanting to reach enlightenment? Yes, I want to reach enlightenment. You want to be awakened? Yes, good. Then grab about another 100 people that you've brought that to and bring them. In A Course in Miracles, giving and receiving are the same. And what it means is this. What is it you ultimately want? Okay, I want more prosperity. Giving and receiving are the same, meaning as you give, so will you receive. Give and ye shall receive. And we thought, you know, that doesn't really make sense logically, because if I give, I don't have. They must have got that wrong. I should rewrite the Bible. Give and thou shalt not have. You know? So why would they say it the other way around when it doesn't make sense? It does make sense, but not to mortal minds. Mortal, limited, red light lines. Instead, it's got to be a different consciousness that we approach it with, which is, if I give, in what way can I ever receive? Oh, karmically. Well, that's a pretty good answer. Because when you give karmically, you get back, right? That's karma. But it's greater than karma. Why is it true that when I give, I receive? Because when I give, and we're one, I'm only giving to myself. When I extend more trust to people, I don't mean foolish trust. If you trust in the ego of a person, you're going to get hurt. Then you're going to say, oh, why did I trust? I said, God, I'm going to trust. And God's like, don't do it. And I trusted. And I got hurt. Why would God lead me there? And God's like, I told you. Because when we leap in trust in unhealthy people and unhealthy behaviors, their ego, self, it's not trustworthy. Trust means I'm trusting that in you there's a divinity, and I'm trusting that you will find that. And if it's not healthy for me to live with your undivinity that you believe in, then I'll not live with you. Then you don't trust me. I do, spiritually. But since you haven't found that part of yourself yet, goodbye. And that's okay. Never lose faith means don't lose faith that everybody will wake up. It's everybody. There's no person you can exclude without a part of yourself being excluded. And then you say, hi, I'm going to heaven. About half of me is going to make it. It doesn't make sense. Heaven is a place of wholeness. How can part of you show up? And if you could, why would you even want that? You know, I better float because I can't walk. You know, there's half of me's gone. You can't, you can't show up with your right brain, not your left brain. It doesn't make any sense. So it's an all or nothing thing, and it's all of God's creations, children or nothing. This too is depressing, because that means all these people that are really jerks, I've got to wait till they get it together. Or I can use them as a test within myself. to say, wow, I have a big test today. I'm needing to find the divinity in that person? Are you kidding me? Yes. As you give, so will you receive. And here's the ultimate giving. If I want to go home, I have to see you as capable of getting home. Forgive. See, judge and thou shalt be judged means that. As soon as I judge you as not capable or worthy, I'm already done. Judge and ye shall be judged didn't mean God's going, if you judge, oh, I'm going to get you. It's not like I'm going to be judged. That's the human mind. It's as you judge, you automatically are judged because they are you. The collective. So here comes Michael and here comes them. All of the massive, everyone else, every other thinker, is a creator, right? So here they come and here I come. I need to love the hell out of them. I need to disperse as it comes at me. Love, 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 love. Every test has to result in love. And it's not easy, but it's all that's real. And it's not easy, but you can do it if you live a day at a time. The recovery phrase, a day at a time, serves no greater purpose than this one. A day at a time. Don't go, oh, okay, I just heard this lecture today, man. Whew, okay, I got to get ready because I'm going in. I'm going to go and heal my perceptions of all human beings right now. I'm going to go sit on the Red Rocks. That'll help me, till you meet some of the loonies out on the Red Rocks, Then you have a whole new batch of people to love and forgive and whatever. And you will run into them if you have that kind of a judgment. Hidden, even the ones hidden, unknown. So you can't get away with that. You meet some loony that's not like me at all. I'm really loving, spirituals, whatever. And how did I manifest this person? It doesn't matter how you manifested them. What matters is they're in front of you. And there's only one thing you're supposed to be doing with it. The best you can to find, affirm the light in that person. Refuse to hate them, learn what you can, and affirm the light in that person. When you can't refuse to hate them, learn what you can by your experience with them, and affirm the light in them, only one person failed. They were just there as a lesson for us. They didn't fail being that whatever you thought they were. They did a pretty dang good job often, right? You meet a betrayer and they betray you and wow, you're mad that they betrayed, but they're like, well, that's the role I was hired for. I'm sorry. I thought I came in for this audition where I was supposed, it said in my paperwork, be a great betrayer. So I showed up as a great betrayer, and we're like, how dare you? So the healing happens within us. And when people show up in those forms, it is ours. It's on our plate as an assignment. So what do you want to do with it? Now, let me say this. When you fail the assignment, there isn't any being of light in any part of God's creation that has any opinion of that. There's no, you blew it, and there's nothing like that. It's more like we'll just reassign you. Oh, are you okay? Did you do all right? No, I'm still mad and angry. That's okay. Let's go over here and we'll find you another one. It's very loving and objective. And the successes you make is responded with by love. Nice job. Come over here for a minute. Let's rub your spiritual shoulders, But, oh, that was a hard one. I know. Gosh, yeah, wow. Yeah, that was a real creepy. Even we would have had a hard time with that one, You did a good job. There's all this beautiful love and support. Thank you. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Oh, we totally get it. Flap, flap, flap. We all flap in approval. That you did a really good job. That was a tough test, You're Viktor Frankl in Auschwitz and saying, I refuse to hate these people. And you're like, do you understand that when they pass over, they are given more of a chance to heal and change themselves because you refused to hate them and believed that they had power over you. Then, if you would have found a gun and killed them all, defeated them mortally, externally, you did better by healing it in here than you would have if you'd have defeated them outside. And that, again, is hard for people to really understand because we have these senses that tell us, if I see evidence on the outside, that's my reality. You will never know your successes, so just know they're there. When you know you intended to not hate, learn what you can, which is called responsibility, and affirm that somewhere in the person, even if it's unbeknownst to me, there is a light made in God's image, you have succeeded. And do you think your ego wants to make it easy for you to see the victory? Because then you'd become attached to the victory. You'd become in love with victories. You'd go, I'm going to forgive more often. It has to keep it ambiguous so that you never know your successes. And that's another act of faith, to know, it has to be working. And one way that I will know, it's faith in evidence unseen, means I don't want to wait till I see evidence and proof. I want it in here to know. I know that I did better this time. And you can go, and because the ego will say, well, come on, be honest. Didn't you feel a little twitch? Yes, I did. Then it'll say, gotcha, you failed. No. You can say, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I did still feel a little twinge. I'll surrender that to God. See, you don't give a victory to the ego. You find a way to say, ooh, wow, I slipped. Even if it can give you film evidence that you slipped, you can go, yeah. Wow, I'm blushing. Hold on. Wow, I really blew it, didn't I? And I'm giving that to God, because then it still disperses it. You don't allow the guilt, the shame, the regrets to lock in and become your reality, because then that's what you're still contributing to the we. I'll need to manifest some more like that in the we in my life. Trust, keep trusting that what we do, what progress we make is real, and that it's miraculous. That it makes a difference. Changing, of course, just to share from the Course in Miracles, which is going to be kind of deep. I'm going to share about 4 paragraphs. They're fairly brief, but about 4 paragraphs. And that is, it's kind of deep, sometimes challenging to wrap the mind around, but try to absorb this at a deeper level. And remember, even when St. Francis said, "Dear Lord, I pray to understand more than to be understood." It's beautiful, isn't it? Humble. I pray to forgive more than to be forgiven. I pray, that's the style of wording in that St. Francis prayer. He's saying, I pray to be these things more than to get these things. And what do you think the deepest meaning is? Because he knows, if I am these things, doing them will be easy. If I am these things, people will understand more. But even if they don't, I don't care. Because it's just the ego part of them throwing its stuff at me, and it will just wash over me. It's just done. It'll just wash right off. So that prayer has a deeper metaphysical component. I pray to be the consciousness of God. Then all other things come. From A Course in Miracles. Our spiritual awakening reconciles all seeming opposites. Okay, these. And what is light except the resolution of all conflicts and mistaken thoughts into one concept which is wholly true. And now we are at peace forever, for the dream is over. The light, the true light that grows within us and makes true vision possible is not the light the body's eyes behold. It's a state of mind which has become so unified that darkness cannot be perceived at all. And thus, what is the same is seen as one. What seemed different now is one. So what we know to be the same melds into one, while what is not the same remains unnoticed, for it's not there. How do I deal with challenges? Well, let me repeat that. Here's how you deal with challenges. What is the same when I see you are me and I am you, you are me? When I see that we're one child Christ of God, we're one creation of God, perfect, then I'm at peace. But what is not one doesn't exist, and he says remains unnoticed, for it is not there. That is a powerful consciousness. There is no evil to fight. Resist not evil means this: when you recognize who you are, there's nothing to fight. This is the light which shows no opposites, and awareness, being healed, has power now to heal. This is the light that brings our peace of mind to other minds. So share it and be glad that they are one with you. Others are one with you. Here are both giving and receiving seen as different, on earth, aspects of one truth. Here it is understood that both occur together, and in this understanding is the base on which all opposites are reconciled, because they are perceived from the same frame of reference which unifies all consciousness. One thought completely unified will serve to unify all thought. One thought in us brought to the mix will start unifying all thought. This is the same as saying that one correction, one healing, one perception healed suffices for all correction, or that to forgive even one person is holy enough to bring salvation to all. If I can totally forgive even one person, it already starts to affect all because they're all the same. When I work on issues of abandonment, if I do true healing, I would never be able to pull it off if I have to heal each abandonment that I've ever had. Even if you could find them in one lifetime you've lived before. Oh, that's great. How am I going to track down all abandonments throughout all time? What if you lived 100 times? You can't even remember them. And some you don't want to remember. How do you track down all your abandonments? This is how effective and efficient true healing is. All I have to do is work on the abandonment in front of me, and it actually downloads healing to every abandonment throughout all time. For who? For me, and then us. Isn't that amazing? It seems annoying, but that's because we perceive it from the ego standpoint, which is, here I go again. I'm having to work on this, this person betrays me. They broke my heart. No, they're an opportunity for you to release all your betrayals throughout all time and then download into humanity's betrayals. Now is it worth it? Kind of. It starts to feel more worth. Give me a couple more of those. Like when you see that it affects all humanity, and that's why Jesus was able to do what he did, or any other patient being throughout time, male or female, any race, the patience it took, because they knew the changes are worth it. When they say to Jesus, man, do you know what's going to happen to you? If he would have focused on it from a human mind, he would have never done it. He had to know the outcome is so surreal, the human mind can't even wrap itself around the concept. When I heal with one, you attack me, he's saying. You attack me, you spear me, you crucify me, you spit upon me, like any of us metaphorically in our lives. We have these things happening, but he's saying, but if you can disperse it as it's coming, recognizing, I am awake. We're not. I don't care. I am awake. We're not. And we hate you. And we don't like you being awake. How dare you for being awake? And no. On and on and on. And it comes at him. And eventually, he's still there. And they're not. Forgive them, they know not what they do, meant forgive them. They don't exist. But they sure seem like it. I know. We know. And it's okay. We get it. Thank you. Thank you for the support, angels. Thank you for the support, God. Thank you. And how do we get that support more often? It's not going to be by saying, dear heavenly angels, you know the person I'm married to, so I know you're going to be there for me and help fight them and defeat them. That's not how it's done. The best way to accomplish it is to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to find out. I don't know how to correctly perceive this. I don't know exactly what these people need for healing. So what I mean here is ask God. That's right. Be with me, God. Show me how to do this one. Don't get me out of this mess, but rather be with me while I'm going through this, because it's only a test. And once you get through the test, just like they say, Jesus in his test in the desert, fasting for 40 days, 40 nights and all that, the ego is saying, you need some food. And he's saying, I'm not even a body. Food can't help me. There's something else I'm looking for. Well, you need food, man. You're just hungry. Just eat and you'll feel better. No, that's a lie, he's saying to the ego or the devil. He's saying, you're lying. If I eat and think that that's what I need, it means I'm a body, which means red light, freeze, and now I'm a body because I just proved it, that I believe I'm a body by eating with the belief that now I'll be feeling better. A relationship is a test. You do not need a relationship to feel better. It's a lie. You do not need food to feel full. You do not need a relationship to feel comforted and non-lonely and all that. Nothing in this world helps because there is no problem. If you grab onto the things that help, it means there was a problem and now you feel a little better, mortally. Which is real close to, the mortality, death, limitation. So Jesus proves in that test of his, or any other person you know of, when they do something like that, what he's saying is, man does not live by bread alone, but by the word. What does that mean? It means, I do not exist. Bread did not create me. Bread is not what fills me. What does? The word of God. What does the word of God mean? The actual word spiritually means Christ consciousness. So man does not live by bread, but by his awareness of his Christ consciousness, his Christ self. So it's my divinity that fills me. Oh, cool. And he's breathing it in and he's feeling full. I don't need that. And there's no needs. I feel full. That's beautiful. It's fantastic. And it downloads to the wave that comes at us of a different reality. And it sort of disperses some of that illusion. So he downloads love into all those opposing minds. And when you and I say to our elder brother, whether it's Jesus or whomever, or even just God or the Divine Mother, when you're calling upon a being that gets it, it's really hard, it's really wise, but it's really helpful. Because when you're dealing with a person that's incarnated and pulled it off, they understand more viscerally what you're dealing with than a being that says, it's an illusion. From out in, billionth dimension, you have a person that says, yes, I remember that. Can I help you with that one? Can I talk to you about that one? And a person that can viscerally, cellularly download that awakening and that strength within us. It's huge. So closing this, to learn that giving and receiving are the same has special usefulness because it can be tried so easily and seen as true. Just test it. And when this special case has proved, it always works in every circumstance where it's tried. What is? To give and receive are true. That's the fact. That's the law. If you get it, it will prove itself to be true, but try it. The thought behind it can be generalized to other areas of doubt. And from there, it will be extended and finally arrive at the one thought. So anytime you have doubt, you can apply this. Wait a minute. Giving and receiving are the same. If I'm having doubts, that means I've put it out there and it's coming back. I need to now put out faith and it will come back. And he goes on to complete. As we learn to practice a deeper understanding that giving and receiving are the same, we also learn to offer peace to everyone and see how quickly peace returns to us. Teach only love, for that is what you are. In the Course in Miracles, what does that mean? Teach only love doesn't mean, okay, everybody look, L. Like it doesn't mean instructionally. It means who I believe I am. Teach only love, the word teach in the Course is the same as saying present. Put it out there. Put it out that you believe your love. The wave will go. It will start being mirrored back to you that you've done good work, like good karma. Teach only love. Because if you spit upon me and I hate you for it, here's what I've said. I'm fragile. Red light, right? I'm fragile and limited, always stuck. Now, when you spit upon me in some literal or metaphoric form and I react, I'm saying to you, I believe now. You confirmed for me. I was doubting my value. When you mistreated me, you confirmed my lack of value, and now I'm justified to hate you. Do you see what just happened? I already thought it. How do I know I thought it? Because you mirrored it to me. Oh, but I don't think that. See, some people don't want to believe that, and I'm sorry. Then choose another place. A place that won't get you anywhere. But if you're willing to be responsible and powerful and evolved enough, you got to at some point own that what's being mirrored has to be somewhere in my or our consciousness. I don't have to pick which one. It's just there. Might as well just own it. It's somewhere in here, in the me or we. What do I do about it? If I react to your attack, I've made it true. When somebody says, you're not very attractive, and you on some level have that, you get mad that they've teased you for not being cute enough or whatever it is that you're tripping out on, you react to that. You've now confirmed it. Just like your parents once said, is one of the only things they probably got right, accurate, and it is when they used to say, your brother or sisters only tease you because they know they'll get you with it. They know they can get to you. See? It's that kind of consciousness. The world does the same thing. It knows, it can sense your frailties, and it goes after them, your doubts and your fears and your shames, which leads us back to where we started. It isn't the bad that they're causing in us. When they even act that way, they are the Divine Mother mirroring to us our doubts and fears. So even in them, their rudeness, there's God, but not in the behavior. but in its love for me to show me my misbeliefs. Did that make sense? It loves me so much, it's mirroring my misbeliefs. And it is an amazing thing. If you love God, then start retiring the Divine Mother aspect of God from playing such gross roles as to have to mirror your doubts and fears. You know, Mother, God, it's so sorry. Today I would like you to mirror my growth. Mirror my good karma. Mirror my deservability. And good miracles happen, and you go, I'm in the zone. This stuff works. But if something contrary shows up, you go, okay. You do your best to say, okay, today's a test rather than a gift. Do the test, do your best. A gift is on the other side of that. The gifts don't just show up naturally. They're always the result of our improved consciousness. So take all the tests, do the right thing with them, do the best thing, do the only thing you should be doing with them, which is dispersing them into nothingness. Giving and receiving. So when I get this, I'm showing the world also, energetically and behaviorally, how to do this. Let's take a few centering breaths. Yeah, a little light conversation today. Yes, capital L. A little light conversation. Let's breathe this in. The interference pattern, what I talked about today, there was a me and a we that created this conversation. You liked it, you didn't like it. There was a me and a we. There was a you and an us. So if you liked it, even if you go, God, this guy, but that was amazing, really, that's part of you. That's a part of you and we. Even our teachers are only a we. You have to also own you. Your choice to evolve and wake up. What I feel and experience is a choice, but not just an intellectual choice. It's a choice of who I believe I really am. What I see, what I experience, is the result of who I believe I am. I like that, I don't like that. It doesn't change it. It's the truth. The outer world is reflecting my inner beliefs. My inner beliefs used to be controlled by my ego, my inner doubts, fears, regrets, shames, unhealed wounds. That changes today. I choose to know only the truth of God. I choose to only believe in and know the truth of God. I'll slip, but I got my priorities straight. To give and receive are one in truth. I will receive a reflection of what I am giving now. What am I giving now? The awareness of who I really am. Instead of going with my fears and doubts and having them come back, giving and receiving are one, and I choose to receive this new belief that I am valuable, that I am holy, that I am worthy of good and prosperous things. But I can only have what I give, so to all people, everyone equally, people you've liked and didn't like, if their images come up, it's exactly what should be happening. Just let your mind be open to seeing any of them as you hear the words. To all of you, I offer peace. And do your best to authentically feel a download of peace from your heart and soul to theirs. If they tend to split off into people you don't like or people unworthy, people that you are not sure if you can do this with, that helps reflect to you exactly the people that are the best tests or opportunities. So just make note of it and remember, we'll be doing more work on that later. To all of you, everyone I've ever known, I offer prosperity. Even those who have taken from you, gone I offer you abundance. Because if they had abundance, they wouldn't need to take from you. So give them what they really need. To all of you, I offer healing. And automatically I receive healing. To all of you, I offer forgiveness. And I am being forgiven. To all of you, I offer certainty, so that doubt in me can be dispersed. To all of you, I offer everything and anything you can imagine that you need. No exceptions. And in that, I receive that very thing. To give and receive are the same. Because as I give to you all, I'm giving to myself. What greater statement is there that I learned to love everyone than when I can prove it by gifting them everything they could imagine? And I close with, I give to all of you the truth of who you are, which is you are the living Christ. You are the light of God. You are all the light of God. The ones I liked and didn't like, I don't care. All of you. All of you are the light of God. And by saying that to you all, I receive that very thing back. I can say I'm the Christ, but if I can't see it in you, it's still split. It's still hypocritical. I have to bring it to the we for it to become a truth, a manifestation. So I give to all of you. I release all of you. I'm your Savior. Sounds weird, but I'm the Savior of all those people. I affirm the Christ or the God presence in all of you because I'm your Savior. And you are mine. By me affirming your light, I find my own. And then I am and remain as God created me to be. And so it is. And then just real slow. Don't get too disturbed yet. Just slowly integrate back into the room, back into your body, and so forth. As I give, I receive. Beautiful. I pray that, as always, I pray that this has made good sense. Okay? From one sentence in the middle of the night, life is nothing but a big fat green light, red light game. You know, and there was a part of me that went, you know, could we be deeper, more philosophical than red light, green light? How do I go to these people and say red light, green light? But yet I know this is going to be cool. Whatever's going to come out, it's going to be cool. I don't know where red light, green light goes, but it's going to be good. Trust in those insights. Trust in those creative spurts. And the more you trust them, the ones that are learning curves become learning curves and you still learn. The ones that you grab onto and you practice, it just raises our ability to do this more and more, whether it's art that you're trusting or teachings. But grab onto the light and let it keep multiplying.